So, welcome everyone to our poetry reading here. Surprise the Line and Matthew Feinstein presenting Poets for Peace. Um, my name is Nancy Lene Wu. I just want to thank you for being here. Before I pass it off to Matt, I just want to thank our esteemed readers for sharing some poems with us today. And thank you everyone for being here, for donating to Doctors Without Borders. Thanks to you all, we raised over $400 in medical aid for Gaza during this absolutely horrific time. So thank you. We want to put some positivity out into the world. Thank you so much for your contributions. And thank you to Matthew for hosting and organizing this reading with Surprise the Line. I just want to briefly say I'm the founder of Surprise the Line, a literary organization based in Long Beach, California, on the unceded lands of the Tongva people. Our mission is to spread the joy and necessity of creativity through language, everywhere, one line at a time. And before I pass it over to Matt, I just want to say we're here in the spirit of peace, but in addition to donating and talking about what's happening and sharing some positive energy, I want to urge everyone to contact their representatives to call for an immediate ceasefire if you haven't already done that, or do it more even. Um, so I will go ahead and pass it back to Matthew.
Hey guys, thank you so much for coming. I just wrote this short introduction, and then I'm going to pass it off to Nancy for her to read a poem, and then we'll get into the reading. So for those familiar with my poems or my philosophy on poetry, probably know that I'm a strong advocate for poems that are brutal in nature, and I tend to feel like there needs to be more poems that are unafraid to turn the reader's attention to what's ugly, not by a gentle hand, but a forceful and blunt slap. But in the past month, I bore the horrors of the footage of Hamas's attack on Israeli civilians on October 7th, and the persisting horrors of Israel's genocidal attack on innocent Palestinian civilians in Gaza over the past 3 weeks. The urge of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia poises a scary future. The United States' refusal to condemn Israel's war crimes and call for a ceasefire poises a scary future. The persisting us versus them mentality poises a scary future. Now more than ever, when violence is closest, I want poems about what seems unattainable to those in the thick of it, peace and a future where humanity comes before everything. I'm really grateful for all of you to be here, and thank you again for readers and people who are attending and who donated. And yeah, Nancy, take it away with the poem that you decided to share.
Okay, thank you, Matt. I found this poem that I would love to share with you all, called Gate A4 by Naomi Shihab Nye, and it goes like this. Wandering around the Albuquerque airport terminal, after learning my flight had been delayed 4 hours, I heard an announcement. If anyone in the vicinity of Gate A4 understands any Arabic, please come to the gate immediately. Well, one pauses these days. Gate A4 was my own gate. I went there. An older woman in full traditional Palestinian embroidered dress, just like my grandma wore, was crumpled to the floor, wailing. Help, said the flight agent. Talk to her. What is her problem? We told her the flight was going to be late and she did this. I stooped to put my arm around the woman and spoke haltingly. Shudawa shubidak habibti stani shwe min fadlik shubit sui. The minute she heard any words she knew, however poorly used, she stopped crying. She thought the flight had been canceled entirely. She needed to be in El Paso for major medical treatment the next day. I said, "No, we're fine. You'll get there. Just later. Who is picking you up? Let's call him." We called her son. I spoke with him in English. I told him I would stay with his mother till we got on the plane and ride next to her. She talked to him. Then we called her other sons, just for the fun of it. Then we called my dad, and he and she spoke for a while in Arabic and found out, of course, they had 10 shared friends. Then I thought, just for the heck of it, why not call some Palestinian poets I know and let them chat with her? This all took 2 hours. She was laughing a lot by then, telling of her life, patting my knee, answering questions. She had pulled a sack of homemade mamoul cookies, little powdered sugar crumbly mounds stuffed with dates and nuts, from her bag and was offering them to all the women at the gate. To my amazement, not a single woman declined one. It was like a sacrament. The traveler from Argentina, the mom from California, the lovely woman from Laredo. We were all covered with the same powdered sugar and smiling. There is no better cookie. And then the airline broke out free apple juice from huge coolers, and two little girls from our flight ran around serving it, and they were covered in powdered sugar too. And I noticed my new best friend, by now we were holding hands, had a potted plant poking out of her bag, some medicinal thing with green furry leaves. Such an old country tradition. Always carry a plant. Always stay rooted to somewhere. And I looked around that gate of late and weary ones, and I thought, this is the world I want to live in. The shared world. Not a single person in that gate, once the crying of confusion stopped, seemed apprehensive about any other person. They took the cookies. I wanted to hug all those other women too. This can still happen anywhere. Not everything is lost. So thank you for letting me share, and I will pass it back over to Matthew.
Hi. So Jane Wong is up, and then Hannah Grieco is on deck. Jane Wong is the author of the debut memoir, Meet Me Tonight in Atlantic City, out now from Tin House. She is also the author of 2 books of poetry, How to Not Be Afraid of Everything from Alice James, and Overpour from Action Books. She holds an MFA in poetry from the University of Iowa and a PhD in English from the University of Washington, and is an associate professor of creative writing at Western Washington University.
Thank you so much, Matthew, and thank you so much, Nancy, for bringing us all here today. And yes, please call your representatives multiple times. I'm going to actually kick off my reading with a poem by one of my former students, an incredibly talented poet who's also Palestinian American, and her name is Emily Kilfe, and the poem is called Chanson Mystique. Chanson Mystique. Nothing lost stays gone forever. Like a storm cloud wavering over Mount Ebal, pinned to the sky as a dove in the watchtower's eye. I ate an escadania, and I became soft-plumbed and dented as a hill's hide, daughter to nothing but milk and music. There's no God, not in my sand cradle, not in my land if the land stays stolen. Says missing, say mystique, say miracle maker or mother, cloud dust, or even better, oil and zatar. How names can change a thing. I ate a loquat while angels dipped their heads and listened, hummed along. No lyrics to this too big something, raisins with the breaking of rain. Not broken, no, and I take back what I said before. Here sits holiness of sorts. Here sits coral blood and cherry. Here scatters the stars like my uncle scatters saplings. I saw a storm arrive in Kansas, and nature stalled to listen, fireflies dizzy with song. I saw dead flies flecked in cherry juice in Jerusalem, and it folded me reverent and shattered. My uncle handing me a map with cities and names lost to red signs and treaties. What you are changes a thing. All right, so the map is illegal. All right, so it's hidden and gone. I carry that vision with me like a passport, like a stolen diamond, like my little sister's glove. That's Emily Kilfe, my former student. I'm so proud. I mean, oh my gosh, I still can't believe I get to be so lucky to teach such wonderful poets. I'm going to just read a couple of poems of mine. This is a very, very short one. And it's called An Altar. An Altar. A glass of water, half full with my lipstick, along the edge, to keep you afloat, to let you know I kissed it first. I kissed it first, along the edge, full of my lipstick, a glass of water, half full, to let you know, to keep you afloat. This poem is called A Cosmology. I told the earth to settle back down, to lay deep in its mud armchair, to soften the static flaring from its mouth. Can we slow down, tender those we miss? The sky, ledge or loom, dangles in my grandfather's mouth, jawbone in the burial ground. In my dream last night, he was a golden beet in January snow. I grate ginger over an ant hole, certain it would gild them too. I repeat, I will not be afraid that the world is about power. My ghosts fill me with feathers, my lungs a mane unplucked. The near promise of erasure settles me in this world buzzing fridge fluorescence. The rotting head of broccoli in my grandmother's bowl blooms with power. What we keep, we eat. What we love, we break off. In another world, a bee falls head first into a pitcher of rice wine. I set an altar. The altar billows with ferns good in any soup. Ants sing along the stems. I scrub the sugar off my face and offer this kiss, my gold leaf self, sheet by sheet. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Jane. That was beautiful. All right, so Hinnah Grieco's up, and then after that is Alafia Nicole Sessions, so you're on deck. Hinnah Grieco is a writer, editor, and teacher in Washington, D.C. She teaches writing at American University and the Writers Center, is an editor at Allen Squire Publishing, and is the editor of anthologies Already Gone, Allen Squire Publishing, and If That Mockingbird Don't Sing, Parenting Stories Gone Speculative, Alternating Currents Press. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me tonight. When I heard that we were supposed to read something about peace, that was hard when looking at my own work, because like you, Matt, I tend to write pretty intensely chaotic things. And then I looked at what that even meant to write about peace. And I said, you know, sometimes I write about small moments of peace within large chaotic things. So I'm going to read one of my poems tonight that's about that. And I think it counts. I hope it counts. It's called So Many Things. And it's from, it was published last year in Nurture Literary Journal. So many things. So many things I can't do, but I can do this. Sit in the dark next to a sad person. Sit and be quiet. If I sink down into the carpet and wait for the sun to rise, for it to travel across the sky and set again, I'll hear your thumping heart pulsing, the wet of tears smearing your face, your breath, the little stop at the top, the stop and wait, and finally out with a shudder. I'll hear your little boy voice inside your adult throat. So many things I can't do, but I can do this. Sit in the dark next to a sad person. And just get the next one up. This other poem I'm going to read is also by Naomi Shihab Nye, because she's one of my favorites. And this poem is one of my favorites. It's called Shoulders. A man crosses the street in rain, stepping gently, looking 2 times north and south, because his son is asleep on his shoulder. No car must splash him. No car drive too near to his shadow. This man carries the world's most sensitive cargo, but he's not marked. Nowhere does his jacket say fragile, handle with care. His ear fills up with breathing. He hears the hum of a boy's dream deep inside him. We're not going to be able to live in this world if we're not willing to do what he's doing with one another. The road will only be wide. The rain will never stop falling. Thank you all.
Wow. Thank you, Hinnah. So heavy, man. Getting the goosebumps, man. The duende's kicking in. Okay, so Nicole, you're up, and then Arthur Kayzakian, you're up next. All right. Alafia Nicole Sessions is a Black poet and mother from Los Angeles, California. She currently works as an educator, actress, herbalist, and doula. Alafia was selected by Evie Shockley as the winner of the 2023 Furious Flower Prize. She is a nominee for Best New Poet and recipient of the Sustainable Arts Foundation Award, and was selected as a semifinalist for the 92Y Discovery Prize.
Thank you. I just want to thank you both, Matthew and Nancy, for organizing this night. And I'm going to read 2 little itty bitty poems, but I want to take 30 seconds to just co-regulate our nervous systems across the space with 3 deep breaths. So we're going to take a breath, crown of head, root, wherever you're sitting, and heart will land in the heart. So just take a moment and close your eyes. And take a short exhale, just empty out. And then inhale through your nose. And exhale out through the crown. Good. Inhaling through your nose again. Exhale out through your root, through your sit bones, whatever part of your body is touching the floor or the chair beneath you. And then finally an inhale in through your nose. Let that breath land in your heart. Let your heart stay open, and then slowly exhale. Thank you. I needed that. So I'm going to just read 2 quick poems. The first I wrote, and the second is by Palestinian poet Mahmoud Darwish. Let them be. There's no such thing as a new world. So we rely on the kindness of angles, how a heart-shaped leaf, when boiled, becomes anodyne. A rhombus coiled by river becomes a straw. We draw into life by degrees, a legion of angels. Ask them how we take our tea, hot and sweet, while we puzzle over problems some would kill to have. Isn't that the problem? Killing to solve them? Blinded by our shadows, confused by the illusion of strangers, I look into the prism of my child's eye. I see a planet not unlike ours, a place that looks like home. Buttered rice grown in fields that never held the breath of detonated bombs. Charcoal-fingered children sketching mushrooms, puffing spores. These children know which spells gather sunlight in dark corners. They're fluent in the language of forgiveness. Let our children be like real children, drunk on the warmth of a long winter stew, nervous systems humming to the pace of peace. Or Let them be scolded by tired, happy mothers for entering the home, fingers thick with honeycomb. Let their greatest threat be at their backs as they evade an angry hive. Is this asking too much to let them be alive? This poem is called Think of Others by Mahmoud Darwish. As you prepare your breakfast, think of others. Do not forget the pigeon's food. As you wage your wars, think of others. Do not forget those who seek peace. As you pay your water bill, think of others, those who are nursed by clouds. As you return home to your home, think of others. Do not forget the people of the camps. As you sleep and count the stars, think of others, those who have nowhere to sleep. As you express yourself in metaphor, think of others, those who have lost the right to speak. As you think of others far away, think of yourself. Say, if only I were a candle in the dark. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Okay, so Arthur, you're up, and Jeni Prater, you are on deck. Arthur Kayzakian is the winner of the 2021 Black Lawrence Immigrant Writing Series Award for his collection, The Book of Redacted Paintings, which was also selected as a finalist for the 2021 Philip Levine Prize for Poetry. He is a recipient of a Creative Writing Fellowship from the National Endowment of the Arts. He is also the winner of the Finishing Line Press Open Chapbook competition for his chapbook, My Burning City. He is a contributing editor at Poetry International and is a recipient of the Minas Savas Fellowship. He serves as the poetry chair for the International Armenian Literary Alliance.
Thank you so much, Nancy and Matt, and big shout out to everyone here. I gotta say, these are some amazing poems that I'm listening to, and I'm instant fan of your work. I'm gonna start with a poem by a Palestinian poet, Najwan Darwish. It's called Who Remembers the Armenians, after Hitler's famous quote, who after all speaks of the annihilation of the Armenians? Who remembers the Armenians? I remember them, and I ride the nightmare bus with them each night, and my coffee this morning, I'm drinking with them. You, murderer, who remembers you? And I'm also gonna read a call and response by a fabulous poet, Sophia Arman, who responded to Najwan Darwish with Who Remembers the Palestinians? Who remembers the Palestinians? We do, and I ride the bus to the Nakma protest with them each day, and my Suj this morning, we are drinking it with them. You genocider, who remembers you? And I will close with a poem that's not in my book, but it's in my journal. I mean, I haven't even typed it yet, but fuck it. Let's see it. Let's see what happens. All right. The world knows how to love when the bullet traversing faster than the speed of your name splits the prisoner in half, and their name slices into two when the body collapses. Yes, like a wedding cake on an uneven table. The night inside you misses the sun, and the weather is warm against your skin. How eloquently you tumble next to your name, for rest does you part. The best names are the ones said with the eyes like a child glaring through the window of your face, and during visiting hours. The world knows how to love when your fiancé arrives with inconsolable flowers and a perfume you love pressed against her breast. She lifts up her skirt with dismay and rides you the way a prison cell deserves to be shaken. You look out the window smoking the only cigarette she snuck in for you. And from the yard, past the execution field, you see the moon setting over the desolate mountains like a starlight of death. And you are graceful for the air in your lungs. Yes, you are filled with joy when you remember all the times your father raised his hand to beat you, and you felt your name bruised by the swelter of his palm. And when he was dying from cancer on his hospital bed, he looked at you with glossy eyes, silver like the moon with its left-handed forgiveness, hanging over the October sky. And he asks you, have I lived a good life? And all you hear is, was I good to you? And the memory of him shotgunning through the door towards you tramples over your temperament. You stand there with soul-stealing rigor, an undeniable blood pumping to your heart. You say, you've been the best father a son could have. Now you want to scream his name from the rooftops of the city, but you whisper it under your breath. You flick your cigarette, smoke drifting towards the sky. Thank you.
Wow. Gosh, the emotional punches you guys are bringing. Holy crap. Excuse my language. Just kidding. Wow. Okay, so Natalie J. Graham, you're up on tech. Jeni Prater, you're up now. Jeni Prater, she, they, was awarded the Academy of American Poets Prize at Wellesley, is it Wesley or Wellesley College? Their poems explore queer joy and non-binary parenthood. She is an NMFA candidate at Randolph College and was accessibility coordinator for the Feminine Empowerment Movement Slam. Jeni lives in Northampton, Massachusetts with their wife.
So I'm as the host asking to unmute. So I think on your end you should see an option to unmute. Okay, let me just do this. You should be able to now. I wonder what's technology, like my therapist says, it's great when it works. I think she might be frozen. I know she was logging in and out, so maybe maybe they're having, okay.
I'm so sorry, folks.
Perfect.
Thank you for bearing with me. I feel like the internet is also in protest today. I wanted to thank you all for showing up in all the ways that you are today, and I appreciate being with you. The first poem I'm going to read is from the Palestinian American poet George Abraham from Birthright. It's called Annihilation Landscape, Nakba. What the textbooks fail to mention, I was whole once. This flesh, not always, a reddened ecosystem. These rose-soaked kufayat, not always 1,000 ghosts of dancing. I was not always crumbled citadel and concrete partition. Once, the bodies in me could sing without screaming. How the trees whisper a different nation's wind song. How roots grasp buried kin, like only a mother could. Even when life is planted in me, they make amnesia of my children's laughter. Call my hollow, false witness. The question marks in your books. I am an erasure of myself. My biology fails me. Once, I had a body to choke on. And the second poem I have to read tonight is from Hala Elyon. It's called Heirloom. My grandfather learned Hebrew because they learn Arabic. I am the daughter of Nefez, the granddaughter of Muhammad, the granddaughter of Salim. I usher in each dream with Quran. Yes, Mama, I'm reading the surahs again, but I don't fast. I don't kneel. There's no dessert without fire. The desert's bronze capillaries from the airplane. In a marbled room, I played poker with a soldier, ex-soldier, he reminded me. Tie up your camels and trust in Allah. The bald woman boasts of her niece's hair. I make you sing for our house guest. The carpenter's door is falling apart. There are men who sing to keep the sky from collapsing like a blue tent. In the settlements, I become Shoshana. I give Shoshana something to love. The shirtless teenage boys with rifles, the swimming pools blue as blue. The abandoned buildings had black graffiti in Hebrew I couldn't read. Shoshana asked what it meant, memorized. We will come back, you cannot keep us out, we will return, this is ours. Thank you all, take care.
Thank you, Jeni. So next is Natalie J. Graham. And then Hinnah Mian is next after that. Let's see. Okay, cool. So Natalie J. Graham earned her MFA in creative writing at the University of Florida and completed her PhD in American Studies at Michigan State University as a University Distinguished Fellow. Her first poetry collection, Begin with a Failed Body, University of Georgia Press, was selected by Kwame Dawes for the 2016 Cave Canem Poetry Prize. She is an award-winning author and performer who has toured nationally with her collection of poems. She became a faculty member in the Department of African American Studies at California State University, Fullerton in 2013. During her tenure, she served as chair of the department and co-founded the Institute of Black Intellectual Innovation. In August 2021, Natalie was appointed Poet Laureate of Orange County, California.
Thanks, Matt. Can y'all hear me? I'm going to start with a poem from Lee Herrick's great new book, Scar and Flower, and it's called Truths. It starts with an epigraph by Philip Levine that says, some things you know all about your life. They are so simple and true, they must be said without elegance. I will say it like this. I watched my daughter bite into a peach, and although she did not have language for it yet, I imagine her thinking, that taste, that perfect juice is heavenly. There was a certain light in Fresno that day, like today, where we work and dream, mayor and mothers, farmers and fathers, laborers and blue collars and donors for the red wave. One city of multiple truths straight down the 99. Dreaming about the perfect peach, the perfect pitch, one city in the shape of an immigrant's beautiful accent, one city of taco, hero, pan dulce, and strawberries, so good, you swear they came straight from the hand of God. One city in my dream where there are no gunshots tonight or the next 100 starlit nights, one simple truth called the fig tree, the ash tree, one poet's testimony stripped of its elegance for the city to consider. In which of our 99 languages should I say that I love you? Which of our 250 different crops would you like to taste, to imagine its perfect juice? My truths involve dreams, stars, hard work and good pay for the ice worker, the tractor driver, the backyard gardener, the students and the teachers, the nurses and the preachers, the fog on a country road. That is the truth. Our menacing heat in July, truth. My city is your city, a bead of sweat and the will to work, the want for clean air, for water, for a moment of grace in the shade. I'm gonna read another poem called Because We Are Out of Words, One Day We Make Love. Silently as a picture, I cut my hand on the sharp corner of your weary mouth. Because we're out of time and the fires shimmer and climb outside, love is a blur we shape ourselves into. The smell of your scalp under my fingernails is the only way to know I touched the fringe of your ear. I'm made of crackling leaves and the sound of wind growling down the mountain. I hear waves in the hollow of your collarbone. The shadows of your body make a great dark water. My breath going to you and coming back again. What I meant to say was, I hear in the dark closet of your body, the thumping of your heart open and shut. Together in that darkness that makes us blind, an ocean. Sometimes you're in love and love is an electric wire, a black line sailing between brick houses, channeling distant fire. Your love is a fire engine asleep in its little brick house, waiting for tragedy to unfold. Sirens mute and ready. Outside, the wind rattles the trees against the roof. A motorcycle guns a rabid engine. A rake grates a circle on concrete. This is the sound of galaxies ending, the sun bursting, then collapsing into black, void withering into void. You tell me a story about a razor. You talk about a fever, your mouth sloppy with drink. Talk about who can't ever know and how you will never tell. And if I don't and can't, even if you, I'm walking in your shadow, cool as the window at night. This is the season of woe, and we won't reap anything at all. The hills will give us nothing but ash. Not even the weeds survive the quilt of red leaves that pool and flicker at the base of a tree. This ground is soft and dark, good, dark, wormy soil, but no sun. You talk about the beautiful corpse he made, his coffin a new nickel, the carriage that held him, the clop of the horses. So many dead, their faces polished glass. All that is left is the shadow of his voice, you say. We're out of words. The echo of his body lays across the horizon as the sunset. That beautiful going, that beautiful gone, that vast, lovely gone, that gold smile, those scars, there are no words left. You check the horizon for smoke and the confetti of ash. I want to learn about birds. I want to know the difference between an ibis and a goldfinch just by running my thumb along the spine of their dropped feathers. I don't want to talk about anything else at all. The sun's fire is gone now, and we're out of words. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. All right, so Hinnah Mian is up and Tovah Strong is on deck. And then we have Jared Beloff, and then that's actually it. All right. Hinnah Mian is an award-winning Pakistani-American author of 2 books, To Build a Home and Pangea, which recently published by the social media sensation Central Avenue Publishing. She specializes in social media management, copywriting, creative direction, and graphic design. Her newest book, Pangea, is available anywhere books are sold around the world.
Thanks, guys. So I know we're supposed to read poems about peace, but as a Muslim, that has seemed kind of few and far between lately, and I haven't really written about that as much. And so I asked my Palestinian friends and my Muslim friends what I should do, and they told me to tell the truth. So I'm going to honor that, and I hope that's okay. I'm going to read 2 poems from my book, Pangea. The first one is called Lahore Blast and is about a bomb that hit my home city of Lahore, Pakistan, and killed 72 people. And I wrote this a couple of years ago, but it's unfortunately still relevant. So I'm going to read that. Lahore Blast. The world does not cry for us. They watch a mother fall to her knees as if at prayer, kneeling before the body of her baby, her forehead resting on the corpse as if she's performing sajda. The world will not cry for us. There are white church halls, white church dresses, white hands coming together to form a prayer not meant for the dirt road colored skin of my people. White hands refusing to pick up the remains of 72 brown bodies. We lie in the mud, and you call it camouflage, and step over us. The world is not crying for us. They do not know that our skin is not mud. It's the spiciness of chai and the sweetness of halva. They do not know that this playground is not a battleground. These little bodies are not soldiers. You wail for God, but when we do the same, you say the bomb blast deafened your ears and you did not hear us. And the second poem is a poem I also wrote a couple of years ago called For Those Who Did Not Make It to Eid. For those who did not make it to Eid, there is no poetic way to describe a bomb because a bomb does not want to be poetic. It wants to be the bearer of 165 lost prayers in Baghdad. It wants to be what fills the fasting bodies right before they pick up a date. It wants the air to hold the aftermath the way stomach holds hunger, the way mothers foster deaf prayers. Bombs are not poetic because words can't mesh corpses back together. Bombs are not poetic because sorrow will now drown cities the way earth fills the dead mouths of bodies. Bombs are not poetic because they fall on God the way pleading knees fall on the prayer mat remains of the dead. Yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending.
Thank you, Hinnah. Thank you for reading what you felt was true. I really appreciate it. All right, Tovah Strong is up. Is Tovah here? Oh yeah. Okay, so Tovah Strong is up, and then Jared Beloff is on deck, he's the last one. Tovah Strong grew up watching Ravens in New Mexico. She is the 2021 recipient of the Glass Clock Intercollegiate Poetry Prize and an MFA candidate at Randolph College. Her poetry has appeared in Institute of American Indian Art student anthologies, the Santa Fe Literary Review, and East Acoustic, and is forthcoming in the Anna.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, awesome. Thank you, Matthew, and thank you, Nancy, for creating this space and bringing everyone here tonight. I'm going to read 2 poems, and the first one that I'm going to start with is by Noemi. No, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. Noemi Shihab Nye, and it's called Jerusalem. It begins with an epigraph by Tommy Olofsson. Let's be the same wound if we must bleed. Let's fight side by side, even if the enemy is ourselves. I am yours, you are mine. I'm not interested in who suffered the most. I'm interested in people getting over it. Once, when my father was a boy, a stone hit him on the head. Hair would never grow there. Our fingers found the tender spot and its riddle. The boy who has fallen stands up. A bucket of pears in his mother's doorway welcomes him home. The pears are not crying. Later, his friend who threw the stone says he was aiming at a bird, and my father starts growing wings. Each carries a tender spot, something our lives forgot to give us. A man builds a house and says, I am native now. A woman speaks to a tree in place of her son, and olives come. A child's poem says, I don't like wars. They end up with monuments. He's painting a bird with wings, wide enough to cover 2 roofs at once. Why are we so monumentally slow? Soldiers stalk a pharmacy, big guns, little pills. If you tilt your head just slightly, it's ridiculous. There's a place in my brain where hate won't grow. I touch its riddle, wind and seeds. Something pokes us as we sleep. It's late, but everything comes next. The second poem that I'm going to read, I'm pulling it up on my phone, so please bear with me for a moment, is by Mossab Abu Toha. And he is a Palestinian poet who is in Gaza and has, I believe he's lived in Gaza for his entire life. And he's been very outspoken the last couple of weeks in particular about exactly what's going on. And this poem is one that is both in his book and something that he shared on social media a couple of days ago. It's titled, What is Home? What is home? It is the shade of trees on my way to school before they were uprooted. It is my grandparents' black and white wedding photo before the walls crumbled. It is my uncle's prayer rug where dozens of ants slept on wintry nights before it was looted and put in a museum. It is the oven my mother used to bake bread and roast chicken before a bomb reduced our house to ashes. It is the cafe where I watched football matches and played. My child stops me. Can a 4-letter word hold all of these? Thank you.
Thank you, Tovah. All right. This is the last person, Jared Beloff. Again, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you again. Jared Beloff is the author of Who Will Cradle Your Head, ELJ editions, and the microchop, This Is How We Say I Love You, Kissing Dynamite Press, fall 2022. He earned degrees at Rutgers University and Johns Hopkins University. Jared has been an adjunct professor at Queensborough Community College, an English teacher and a teacher mentor in NYC public schools for 16 years. Jared is currently a peer reviewer for the Whale Road Review. He lives with his wife and 2 daughters in Queens, New York.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for showing up and supporting this good cause. I'm going to start with a short part of an Ilya Kaminsky poem titled "A City Like a Guillotine Shivers on Its Way to the Neck." At the trial of God, we will ask, why did you allow all this? And the answer will be an echo. Why did you allow all of this? And I have 2 poems. One, I've been thinking a lot about what it means to witness. I've been thinking a lot about the ways in which people sit with their grief and their anger and advocate. And I've been thinking a lot about righteousness, and it led me to think about Abraham, the patriarch of multiple religions, and how he negotiated with God to advocate to spare the righteous, to spare the innocent. And this is a poem I wrote just last week to try to think, put down my thoughts. It's titled "The City of Smoke." The city of smoke is a braid over charred bodies. Even now you haven't cried for silence. We crane our necks to see the sky part, cleaved to become a pillar of smoke, a pillar of salt. If there is a God, he must be waiting for the ghost note Abraham called as sand turned to glass. How many hundreds left to burn? How many spared? The city of smoke is a braid of charred bodies, smudged by our hands. We crane our necks, drink ashes, cover our ears. The only sound is wind, the bowl of our hands. This week was the anniversary of my my aunt's passing, her Yahrzeit, and I have a poem about her funeral, and it's titled Shavira, which is an allusion to the Kabbalah and this idea that in the beginning of the creation of the world, there were vessels of light, and that those vessels shattered and the light scattered around the world, and we are meant to find them. And so it's titled Shavira, which literally just means brokenness and being able to sit with brokenness. And I think about this poem now in terms of what everyone's dealing with and the grief that we all carry, and how do we move through it, and how do we think about it. Shavira. The stones at Rodef Shalom Cemetery hold light, but they do not gleam. I am an open grave. Below us, my Aunt Gail, a body lowered to the dirt in a pine box. The first shovel sounds like hammers, then voices in an empty room. My daughter piles rocks on top of her great-grandfather. Hello, she says with each one. The mourners shovel. Hello, hello. They aim to fill the darkness at the sides of the coffin. The fall of dirt has softened. Hello, 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 hello. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. Yeah, it's been thank you for all your words. And thank you guys for giving your time, and for those of you who donated. Yeah. A lot of emotions. Definitely needed it. Cathartic.
Yes, that was absolutely incredible. Absolutely stunning. If I have given everybody the option to unmute themselves, if we could all just unmute and give a little bit of a soundful round of applause for our wonderful readers, and just to, if you want to give some love, thank you so much for everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
So beautiful.
Thank you, Nancy and Matthew. Thank you, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So much for organizing this, and for everyone who donated. And remember to please keep calling your representatives to request a ceasefire and march if you can, and do anything you can. And yeah, thank you, Matthew and Nancy, for everything that you guys did.
Mhm. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. That was wonderful. I'm so glad we recorded, because that was such an incredible reading. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's it. Anything else, Matt?
Oh, just more thank yous, which is kind of redundant. So,
Yeah.
all right, awesome.
Nice, short, and
Wow.
sweet, 1 hour.
Yeah, speechless.
Yeah.
It was so wonderful. Thank you so much.
The work was stunning. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you, you too.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so